Now joining us here in studio to discuss the Houthi terrorist organization is Yemeni peace activist and a prolific content creator himself at Builders of the Middle East, Luai Ahmed. Luai, it's a pleasure to have you here in studio with us. To start, I'd love to get your opinion as a Yemeni of this organization, the Houthis, and their impact on Yemen. Who are these guys?
I mean, they are the most terrorist-like group that Yemen has seen since Al-Qaeda. People don't understand that the Houthis are not only barbaric, they were never democratically elected in Yemen. Hamas, which is also a terrorist group, was at least democratically elected by the Gazans, but the Houthis were never democratically elected. What they did was they grabbed their weapons and they took over the entire Yemeni institution through the ministries and through the streets. So Yemen had no infrastructure before the Houthis came in. So when the Houthis, a terror group which was armed since before 2006, took over on the streets and then institutions, they were able to take over. And the consequences that this has had on Yemen has been detrimental. I mean, even before their takeover in 2014, more than 75% of the Yemeni population was impoverished. So you can only imagine when a terrorist group takes over this very impoverished country, what that will mean, most specifically for the minorities and the women of the country.
Now, the Islamic Republic of Iran is the primary funder of the Houthis, who were not that strong before all of this influence from Iran. What impact has that regime in Iran had on Yemen, on the people of Yemen?
Like you said, they are the head of the snake, and I usually say that they are the octopus. They are the head of the octopus, and the Houthis are just a tentacle that the Islamic regime is using. Now, the Islamic regime in Iran hates Arabs, Muslims, and Yemenis, Lebanese. They don't care. They're only using us to further their agenda. And their agenda is Islamic occupation. We see this Islamic occupation in Lebanon, in Yemen, in Gaza. And what they want is exactly what is written in the Houthi slogan: death to America, death to Israel. Now, if that is your slogan, death, there is no way that you're going to be able to create a prosperous society. So they're telling you, we want death. And many Yemenis are upset and tired of this because we see that our own society is being destroyed by this terrorist group. And beyond that, the Houthis are detrimental to the vast majority of Yemenis. Now, you call them a Shia terrorist group, but they also worship the Hashemites of the country. This is a medieval group that has ideas from the Stone Age. So what they do with the idea of Hashemites and this law that they passed that's called Al-Khums is they prioritize the Hashemites. And the Hashemites are people who are related to Prophet Muhammad. This sounds like a crazy, insane idea, but that is because it is an insane terrorist group that takes its laws and rules from the 7th century.
Now, we know that the US, UK, and Israel have all retaliated against Houthi action, and yet we still see them firing ballistic missiles. I know you were even in Israel during one of those attacks.
Right.
What can be done to actually stop the Houthis? Is targeting Yemen effective at all? Should it be targeted towards Iran? What would you advise?
I think this is a very complex issue for Israel and the Israeli society to face. It's not every day that a country is being attacked on 7 different fronts. I do believe that Israel has to defend itself and attack the Houthis, most specifically in their military bases. And these military bases, the weapons that the Houthis are getting from the Islamic regime in Iran, are affecting most of all Yemenis, the journalists that are being executed, the women who are getting killed, the gays who get executed, the people who are critical towards this terrorist regime that is occupying our country. These weapons are being supplied by Iran. So when Israel attacks military bases and destroys these weapons, they're also saving the Yemeni people, not just attacking the Houthis. And this is something that many people in the Middle East don't understand, but they're beginning to realize. When Israel is attacking the Hezbollah through the Pager attack and killing terrorists, basically, killing terrorists in Yemen, this is better for the Middle East. A lot of people think that we should not kill terrorists, we should try to negotiate with them. But Israel has been trying to do that for the longest time, and this is the only option that it has right now, is to attack back and defend itself.
Now, we are almost out of time, but I want to ask you really quickly. You are in Israel, technically an enemy country of Yemen as it stands today.
Right.
How have you been treated? What has been your experience here?
My experience has been miraculous because before I came here, I, like most Yemenis, thought that I was going to be perceived with hatred and racism and judgment, but I've been embraced with so much love and friendship and kindness by the Israeli society. And of course, there's a lot of problems with Israeli society. There's racism, there's misogyny. These issues are in every single country that exists. But the love that I have been shown by Israelis, but just by knowing that I'm from Yemen, they go, "Where are you from?" I tell them I'm from Yemen. They're like, What are you doing here? Are you a Houthi? Which shows you the level of kindness and openness and warmth that the Israeli society. My country is currently not making you sleep. We're throwing missiles at you, but you still are kind and sweet to me. And this is something that I'm trying to communicate with people who don't visit Israel, that the Israeli society is a warm, loving, Middle Eastern society that actually reminds me of Yemenis in the way, when I was on the way from Vienna to Israel, a woman on the airplane actually was making sandwiches and she forced me to eat her sandwiches. This has never happened to me in Europe, but this is something that used to happen to me in Yemen. So that warmth and kindness is something that I really love and admire so much about the Israeli society.
Well, we are glad to have you here and, of course, glad to have you in studio today. Luai Ahmed, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.